So we want to go to the next step. We want to have a conversation. We want to talk. And the youths are here. There are youths online. Those who can chat, please make sure that you chat. We want to have a conversation. So I want to take this time to, there are some pictures that we would want to see. 1 minute? You say 1 minute? Okay, good. So as we give 1 minute for those pictures, I want to invite our leaders, our panelists, to come and take their positions so that we can have this conversation. So I will start with the National Director, Sam Wambugu. Karibu sana. Let's clap for Sam Wambugu. Then I will go to the next person who is here. The picture's running. So hoping they are ready, but sawa. Let's appreciate the head of legal at the National Youth Council of Kenya. Serikali iko hapa. Hapa mnaona kuna nini? Serikali. So karibu sana, our brother Victor. You can have the seat just there, Victor, and we can, let's appreciate him more. Karibu sana. Good. Then we can have our pastor, our youthful pastor, our pastor, our brother Patrick. Karibu sana. You can have your seat there. And then we have our very own alumni, our CEO, MD, and our friend. Karibu sana, our sister, and have a seat there. Great. So, since those pictures have taken time and we have had to have our speakers already here, this is our team of panelists. I wish we can clap for them much better and have this conversation. So I'm going to ask them to quickly, you have a mic near you, so you will use the mic to speak. So we are going to start with a brief introduction. Tell us who you are, your role, which organization, just a brief introduction in 1 minute. So we are going to start from my brother, Victor, from National Youth Council. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Is it evening or afternoon?
It is evening.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Victor Malombe, representing the National Youth Council. At the National Youth Council, I head the legal department. Okay, briefly, the National Youth Council is the official voice of the youth in the country. The National Youth Council is a semi-autonomous government agency domiciled under the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. So the National Youth Council came about as a legal and institutional solution to youth empowerment and inclusion. This happened through an act of parliament. That's the National Youth Council Act number 10 of 2009. So the National Youth Council has, in its governance structure, it consists of the council and the Youth Advisory Board, as well as the Secretariat. The Secretariat is where I sit. So the council comes through an elective and appointive process, whereas the Youth Advisory Board is appointed through the Office of the President. So the National Youth Council began its operations after its first elections, which were conducted in the year 2012. However, the operations began at around 2014. And so the National Youth Council ideally is supposed to act as a bridge between the government and policy makers. So like I said, it is the official voice of the youth. Then at the National Youth Council, we have several programs which are aimed towards advocating for the voice of the youth. One of the key flagship programs that we have is called Uzalendo. Uzalendo is the civic engagement program, which is actually domiciled within my department. This is more on civic education, and is aimed towards ensuring that youth are meaningfully represented, that they participate, and that they're included in governance, leadership, and the democratic process. The other program we have is called Fursa. Fursa is opportunities at the grassroots level, where we have different challenges year in, year out. For instance, this year we have what we call Fursa in Democracy. We all know that this was an electioneering year, and so we began the challenge in January this year. Fursa in Democracy is basically where we have competitions, and for this year's theme, it was mainly to be able to have youth policies across the 47 counties. The other program that we have is called Sawazisha Gumzo, or what we call intergenerational or intra-generational dialogue. This mainly deals with having that kind of conversation between the different generations, yeah? Because as young people, we need to be able to have co-leadership with those who have gone ahead of us. So that's why we have Sawazisha Gumzo as a platform for value transfer. The other program we have is called Faraja. Faraja basically deals with issues on mental health, issues on harmful cultural practices. We have issues such as social vices, drug and substance abuse. Yeah, that is covered under Faraja. Then we also have Utafiti. Utafiti is more or less to do with research, because one of the core functions of the National Youth Council is research. Apart from regulation and coordination of youth serving organizations, research is also one of our key functions, because you cannot bypass research in attempting to deal with issues affecting the youth. You have to know what is affecting them to be able to deal with it. So research is a very key function of the National Youth Council. Further to that, we also do a lot of advocacy, a lot of lobbying in terms of legislation, in terms of policies, in terms of popularizing the Kenya Youth Development Policy. I don't know how many youths are aware of that policy. It came into force in 2019. This was after the National Youth Policy of 2007, which actually gave birth to the National Youth Council. Of course, we all know the heightened attention to youth matters after the post-election violence, and also coming from a time when the continent had, come up with the Africa Youth Charter, which Kenya is a signatory to, and which was promulgated in Banjul in 2006. So that is what informed the need to have a National Youth Council in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give a hand to him. So next.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good evening. Yes, my name is Samuel Wambugu, and I'm currently serving as a National Director, Compassion International Kenya office. Yeah, Compassion is a Christian-based organization, non-governmental organization, and so we are registered with the National Coordination Board, NGO Coordination Board, and this organization was established in 1980 here in Kenya, and so far we are working in partnership mainly with the churches, and to date we are in partnership with 460 churches in 31 counties. So currently the number of program participants that are registered are close to 140,000. It keeps changing. It's a moving figure because some join, others are exiting the program. And yeah, I've served in this organization for quite a while, close to 18 years now, in various roles. And I'm happy today to be here to be deliberating on issues of youth. As we all know, youth is a very big constituent in our program. We have almost 50% of them in the youth category, that is 12 years and above. And so thank you very much, and I'm ready to engage.
Thank you so much. Sam, next is Brenda Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Brenda Karimi. I work with BK Marketing Company. It's a social marketing company that's out to empower communities to make informed decisions. But more so, I work with young people. I'm a mentor, a youth coach, and also a trainer. My passion is to see young people make informed decisions and living a fulfilled life, living their purpose, and more so, overcoming poverty, because poverty is a mindset. So that's the gospel that I'm spreading to the young people, that it is possible to make informed decisions, and decisions in favor with your purpose and what God created you to be. I was recruited in the project when I was 5 years old. My number was KE 705204, and my sponsor was called Paul and Britton Berger. And I really treasure them. It's an opportunity that I had that I cannot trade it with anything. Having a mentorship program for some 31 young people in different projects, and I'm just helping them to appreciate the opportunities that they have currently in the project, and also the vision of compassion being releasing children from poverty in Jesus' name. And I always tell them there is Jesus and there is compassion, but also remember that you are there and you are the key player. So compassion and Jesus cannot release you from poverty if you are not actively involved. Thank you so much for having me here.
Wow, thank you so much. Amazing.
Yes, good evening. So I go by the name of Ken Patrick Mwenda. I'm a pastor at Life Church International, Limuru. In the pastoral duties, part of my duties is to preach to this generation. We do a lot of high school and college evangelism, ministration, mentorship, and all of that. But above that, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a company called Bethkeda Ventures Limited. We have different arms. The first one being Beware Designs, where we make and distribute and tailor-made outfits. We also have the Bistros, which deals with ready-made outfits, and B Events, which is our events arm. Above that, I'm very happy to be here and ready to engage.
Thank you so much. Let's clap for our panelists. Let's appreciate them. Thank you so much. So you are ready to engage, and because we have quite many questions, and I know the audience may have some questions, we'll take a little, not a lot of time on one question, but the first question goes to the National Youth Council. My brother Victor, you have talked about the many programs that you have. These young people who are here, they just want to know. This is their question. How can we engage? How can we be involved? How can we be part of the people who are doing the civic education? How can we be part of the people who are doing the advocacy? How can they engage with the National Youth Council? That is part one of the question. And then as you address that, these youths, when they apply for jobs, they are asked experience. That have 2-3 years, sometimes 5 years experience, and they are wondering, where are we going to collect this experience and go with it for that interview? So as National Youth Council, what are you doing in that space?
Thank you so much for that question. I think critically something I should have mentioned in my introduction is that I'm a youth, not youthful, I'm a youth, and I'm also a youth with disability. So I champion for youth with disabilities. And one of the things that we've been able to learn through the videos is that mayouth lazima tujitume, sindio? So in the various programs, you know, one of the things that surprises me is that young people, not all of them, there are some young people, they want to sit and wait for a golden opportunity. But there is no such thing as a golden opportunity. You know, progress comes when opportunity meets preparation. So to be able to tap into some of these programs, you have to be proactive rather than reactive. Yeah, we as the youth, we are versed with technology. We browse a lot. We are on internet a lot. But most of the time, some youth are normally searching the wrong things. But if you go online and you just search for opportunities, I'm telling you, all the information you need is within your scope. Yeah. So one of the ways on our website, we have a registration tab. I don't know how many have seen it. Yeah. As a young person, you can register on our website, and those details go into our data bank. Yeah. And whenever we have some of these programs, some of these activations, we normally look at the database. And if, for example, we have an activity at Kerio Valley, we look at those people around there who have registered, yeah, and we invite them for those programs. When we have the civic engagement programs, all these programs, we normally first consider those who have interacted with interacted with our media platforms, yeah. We have our social media platforms. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah, young people are well versed with most of these things. So, a way of being able to know is to look for that information. Yeah, because we, in fact, even on our media handles, we normally post opportunities. Opportunities for youth, job opportunities, and various other opportunities. Further to that. You've talked about experience, yeah? Nimesema vijana lazima tujitume. Experience doesn't necessarily have to come through you getting a formal employment. Yeah, we have so many opportunities. We have internship opportunities, county internship opportunities. We have the PSC internship opportunity, where the PSC takes interns every year and distributes them to the various ministries, departments, and agencies. And that is on the PSC website every year. That's why I'm talking about being able to look for that information and being able to find those opportunities. Further to that, we have volunteer opportunities. Like I had mentioned, this year we've been looking at county youth policies. And in this, in the course of this project, we have considered those youth who have interacted either with the website, registered with us, or those who we have interacted with in other programs before. And we've been able to engage them towards coming up with these county youth policies. Apart from that also, we as the National Youth Council and other MDAs normally hire, what do we call them, attaches. Yeah, every year we have opportunities for attaches for like three months or thereabout. And apart from that, we have training programs. We have institutions such as NITA, National Industrial Training Authority, which offers apprenticeship opportunities. You just have to register with them. Yeah, I don't know how many know where NITA is situated, but it's actually in an industrial area. And even if you check online, you can get to know how can I register for training programs or for apprenticeship programs with National Industrial Training Authority, because they post people to various places. Yeah, and on top of that, we have also trainings with institutions such as KEOP, Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project. Yeah, there are so many opportunities. We have government affirmative action programs such as AGPO. Yeah, AGPO considers PWDs and youth and women. And with AGPO, you just have to register a business name. You don't need to go into a lot of jargon to register a company, just a business name. And just have an idea of anything. You can walk into any public institution and after you've registered your business, of course you have to go through the Huduma Center to register the AGPO certificate. Once you have that AGPO certificate, you can be able to supply to any government institution. So opportunities are out there. It is up to us as the young people to look for them and to tap into them.
Wow, thank you so much. Makofi kwa hiyo. So opportunities are there. If you are a youth, go and register on the national, you've said it's on the website. Yes. National Youth Council website, we register and we will be called for when opportunities come. Thank you so much. But a National Director, it's almost a related question, that many young people go through the program, when they finish, they're exited. They you know, is it by default, naturally? Sure, 22 years, you go. And the question they're asking, what can Compassion do to help us get opportunities for work? Like, can they partner with other organizations? Or even, the question that was very direct was asked is, can Compassion International offer alumni at internship opportunities?
Wow. Am I clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. Actually, there are like two questions in one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. For Compassion, as we partner with the churches, our main aim, as our mission goes, is to release children and youth from poverty in Jesus' name. So how we are able to accomplish this, really for us, is to equip the youth and position them for success in their future life. So some of the things that we are going to do is to ensure that we expose them and provide for them opportunities that they need to be tooled with the relevant skills that they need, to be groomed and to be basically ministered to holistically, so that they are able and ready for work to meet the marketplace out there. So some of the things that we will do will include even partnering with other organizations. For instance, we've partnered with organizations like the KPA. We've even, like recently, we partnered with an organization called Build Her that promotes girl-child empowerment to engage in the marketplace with skills and training, and many others, so that we try and have a finish well program, what we call post-program success. Beyond that, we will also make sure that we provide the necessary training, beyond even just the education. We'll provide opportunities for training in entrepreneurship, training in just relational aspects of human development, so that they are competent people when they get out there. Do we give opportunities for internships? Yes, we do. But again, you've got to understand that we have limitations in terms of even just space and capacity of how many we can give opportunities to. But we've also had instances where we've trained them in entrepreneurship and even put them together in groups to try and form companies that can supply. Right now we have one that is actually a vendor in Compassion. I think they are doing translation work for us. And we call them, and we've been asking whether they can form teams or groups, register a company, because again, we've got to do things in accordance to the law. We've got to be compliant to the laws. And so there's a team of some, I think 10, I don't know how many they are, but they came together, formed a company, and we are giving them business. And we are encouraging as many as there are out there. Form those companies. Maybe you can even supply other things, stationery, IT stuff. I mean, as long as you are competent and you abide by the normal laws, we will engage you, and in many other places. There's also another organization called Summer Source. You know, we identified some youth who could join that organization. It operates in the digital space, and we are trying to identify linkages and networks where we can actually push the youth to get jobs, even in the space of blue economy and stuff like that. So there are many opportunities that we can explore, and we hope that by the end of the program period, by the time a youth is exiting at around age 21 to 22, they are well prepared to engage in the marketplace.
Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing as an organization, Bwana Sam. And the other question goes to Brenda. Brenda, you know, when a lady is seen to succeed, when a lady is seen to, you know, do what you're doing, like you're a founder and you're an MD, people start thinking, okay, probably huyu ana mtu amemshikilia mahali. Is it they are called godfather or is it godmother? Or maybe they are called, unajua mtu ambaye anamsupport. I'm going to ask you a direct question. Uko na mtu anakusupport ama is it your own? Do you do these things your own? What is your driving force? Or do you have a mentor? Yeah. What do you have somebody you look up to and they give you advice and for you to be where you are? And maybe you can tell us a bit of your journey in terms of what you do.
I'm a product of the community. I've been brought up by community. A village girl. A child of the villagers, you know. And basically to me, even in this auditorium, I can point out people who have spoken into my life since I joined the program, you know, and I've been that child who have been desiring to grow and to become better. And so I've been very inquisitive in terms of asking questions and getting information. The trainings that we were getting in the project on mentorship, I took them very seriously, you know, and I would approach people at my young age, can you be my mentor? In as much as I didn't really understand what that meant. The times I used to have to attend trainings, you know, I was very keen on what we're being taught. And that was my first time to meet Newton, you know. And that's one of the training that I cannot forget. It was called Inabamba. And the words that he spoke to us, not me specifically, but to us, and they were with Caleb, if I'm not wrong, they kept me moving. And I could tell myself, I was told that I can make it. I was told that I will succeed. In as much as my parent could not tell me that, but at least there are people who are telling me. And so I took those words very, very seriously. And that's the space I am right now. I always say I cannot die hungry. I will go out. I know there are good people out there. And so even in business, I started doing business when I was in college. Being in the leadership development program where we were given some upkeep, that money could not sustain me and sustain my family at home because I understood where I was coming from. And so I used to sell clothes while I was in campus, and during the weekends make nails for my friends, and they would pay me. So on Saturday by around 12 noon, I would have made like 1,000, which I would send to my mom, you know. And so I started embracing the aspect of entrepreneurship when I was in college. And also there were trainings that we used to receive on entrepreneurship. And so I would take them seriously. You know, it's not like it's for passing time. I would take them seriously. I have been very, very passionate on trainings and empowerment because I know that's what set me apart from other students that we were with in the village, taking the training seriously and putting everything in practice. And so I desire to see young people who are empowered. When I graduated, I got into employment. But still I felt that's not what I wanted to do, you know, and I quit. I called Beatrice Maina over lunch one of the days, and I told him, you know what, I'm quitting now. And she was like, no, Brenda, please don't quit. You don't have money. You have to pay rent. Please, well, hold on a minute. I'm quitting now, you know. Some foolish decisions you make along the way, and I quit. And truth be told that I didn't have rent the following month. And then I realized that, yeah, it's not as easy as I thought, you know. And then I get back into employment, you know, and I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. There is something in me that I feel I need to bring out, you know. Then I do some savings and then I quit. And then I realized people are very cruel. They like the training, they like what you're offering, but they want you to do it for free. You know, like, God bless you, you know. But then you're going back home and you're remembering that you have your family at home. And so it has been a journey. It has not been easy. It has been difficult. There is a time I was actually hosted by a friend because things had gone north, you know. But I was very committed to pursue this thing I wanted to do. And so I enrolled in some trainings. I did some savings here and enrolled in some trainings on how I can package myself for the market. Because the market will not look at you like, oh, you are a poor girl, we need to support you. You know, even as you're asking about employment, when you're going to an employer, they not look at you as a poor person who needs help, who is an orphan. No, they'll place you like any other person. And the moment I realized that breaking the poverty cycle is not a walk in the park, I became as aggressive as the poverty itself. Because it's not kind. It has embarrassed me, and so I cannot live on that embarrassment. And so sometimes I post things on social media and people think, oh, Brenda, you are doing well. But sometimes they don't know I have cried because I don't have clients. But for how long will I cry? I have to wake up and strategize and plan. I talk to people, how do I go about this? Just for advice, and people who are in business, what do I need to do, So they'll advise me, but the real work lies on me. So if I choose to sleep, if I choose just to watch movies and feel good and go for parties, it's up to me. It's a choice that I have to make, And so even to date, I can't say that now I am at the peak and now I'm successful, I'm everything that I needed, I am still working. And I know if I don't work, I have no godfather, I have no uncle in State House or, I'm just on my own and God. It's me and God against poverty. Compassion did its best. And some of the students that we were with, actually they were complaining, oh, compassion has not helped, compassion does not need. But you see, how will it help you when you are at home sleeping and asking the national director how you can get internship at Compassion, whereas there is a lot of work in your church? It's a matter of mindset. And I was sharing that after I cleared Form 4, I did my CPA. And how I got to do my CPA, I know Mr. Elkanah cannot remember this, but he found me dusting shelves in the office. And he asked me, what are you doing here? Why are you not in school? Because I was very tiny. Okay, not that I'm big. But he found me dusting. And I'm like, I finished. So what do you want to do? And quickly I said, I want to do CPA. And by the time he walked out of that, everything was sealed. And then the other student now started complaining, Brenda, you are favored. Brenda, why are you eating all our money? This is our money, it should be distributed. And I'm like, where were you when I was dusting?
Wow.
Positioning yourself for success.
Wow. Fantastic. Thank you. Sisi tupige makofi. Na tulisahau kupigia ndio pia makofi. Hebu piga makofi. Patrick Mwenda is a pastor, he's a founder and CEO of Beth Gada Ventures. My brother, as a pastor, young people have many challenges and pressures of life. Social media, there is peer influence, and it's really almost becoming impossible to stand in salvation for many young people. So want to know, as a young pastor, how have you made it to withstand, on the spiritual dimension of your life?
Yeah, thank you. So one of the things that I must insist even before we go too far is that the times that we are living in, the information age, where everybody has access to information, has really put us in a scope where we can be influenced by many things that are true, untrue, or relatively something that someone is trying to pass to you. So when we speak about influence, one of the things that really stands out for me is this thing they call social media influencing or social media influence. And one of the things that I've come to discover in my generation is that people will show you the destination, but they will not show you the journey. So that has put a lot of pressure on us, because someone will show you driving the car, but they will not show you how they got the car. Someone will show you living in a certain house, but they will not show you how they got to that house. So the influence that they are giving us is not an influence that is positive. Rather, it's an influence that is putting pressure for someone to achieve something that is not there. So I would like to answer that question, number one, by saying that one of the things that has really kept me grounded is my faith. Anything that I began, my journey has been a journey of faith. I began in 2016 the company with one machine, tailoring machine, until we've been able to, right now, to a place where we are able to employ around 12 to 15 people in different capacities. And one of the things that I've learned throughout my journey is the thing that we call process. So I didn't begin to where I am. So every person that comes to me for mentorship, I will not point them to my crown or my medals, but first I will expose them to my scars. Because the biggest lesson that I can teach the youth is in the scars, not in the medals. Because if they admire my company, if they admire my car and admire my houses, but they don't know my story, I will just be lying to them. Because many are the nights that I had to be in the prayer mountain praying for the business. Many are the times that I didn't have it figured out. Many are the times that I had losses that were almost killing the business. Many are the times that I was running around to mentors, banks, looking for loans that I could not even afford. So if I am only
Recording
to show them
stopped.
about if I'm only showing them the company and where I am, that alone is a lie. So one of the things that has really kept me going is my faith. I always remind myself that there was a time I didn't have anything, and in that time that I didn't have anything, I was in prayer and I was with God. So I have to keep on reminding myself that they can take everything that I have, and as long as I have God, then I have everything that I need.
Wow. Do you want to clap for him? Thank you so much. I almost said preach it. Then I remembered we are in a panel conversation. So thank you so much for that. Very, very dear words of wisdom, right? And I hope you are picking something and you will run with something, isn't it? Good. Now, back to the Kenya National, the National Youth Council. Is it Kenya National Youth Council or National Youth Council? National Youth Council. Good. Now, today, for one to get a job in government, ministries, parastatals, and agencies, you are required to produce at least 4 documents. I will mention them. Help, clearance, to show that you are educated, is 1,000 shillings. KRA certificate, to show that you do not have, I don't know why, but to show that you do not have some problem with KRA, it's 500 bob. Certificate of good conduct, to show that you're a good person, it's 1,050. CRB certificate, to show that you do not owe, is 2,200. So a job is advertised, and within 2 weeks you need all these documents. Where do you get the money to produce these documents? And it's a nightmare for the youths. Within 2 weeks, because the deadline will close and you need to have those things ready. This is the question. What are you doing as National Youth Council to advocate against these, difficult measures for the youth to get a job?
Thank you for that question. First and foremost, what I need to mention is that we now have a cure. And if you are aware that the Employment Act was amended in 2021, we had the Employment Amendment of, was it in November 2021, which amended, in fact this was fronted by Honorable Keter, and it amended Section 9 on that issue of having to, provide those clearance certificates. So as it is right now, the law states that it's not mandatory to produce those clearance certificates until the employer has given you an offer of employment of service. So on top of that, the National Youth Council was very key in advocating for the voice of the young people in the country when we had those processes in Parliament to amend that section. And so we were very key. We made our memorandum to Parliament, and as it is right now, that section has been amended, although except for state officers who may be required to produce those certificates as and when it is required during the recruitment process. But for anybody else, until you are guaranteed a job, that's when now you'll be required to produce those certificates. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. So the issue is if you go, you can go for an interview without those documents, right?
Yes,
very well.
As it is right now.
Very well.
Gone are the days when you had to, have a background check on your criminal status for a mere interview. The cure has come.
Okay, thank you. That is encouraging, right? It's encouraging for the youth. We watched the story of Kioko, the guy who is a welder. Now this is the reality. For many years, success is measured in terms of excelling in academics. Even now we look at who has scored an A, a B, and who is there with a C minus to be considered. So the society has really focused on, grades. So this question was directed to you, that what is success to you? And how can we change this narrative? Like that we can have a Kyoko who is doing welding and is making it in life.
Okay. That's a very loaded question. Because all of them are good, So let me start with answering the second part B of that question. What is success? So for me, success is many things in one. Because it takes different things to measure whether somebody is succeeding or not. So in my words, I think success for me is somebody who is thriving, and that is a continuous tense, because it's continuous, it's continuing. So somebody who is thriving in different facets of life. And as we understand life is holistic. So success has got to be holistic. So we are talking about spiritual. You're talking about physical, economic, relational wise, even family wise, psychologically. All that is part of a success. It may not be the same at all the fronts, but at least as long as you're thriving, you're moving forward, you're inching forward, for me, I think that is success. And again, it depends on individuals. Some people have very high standards for themselves. So while I think that success for me is a nice job, some decent income, and a family, somebody else thinks success is to be a CEO, or success is to be the president. It depends on different people. But for me, as long as you're thriving in your place, in your space where you are, and you're happy, and you have the general well-being of life in different facets, then for me that is success. Now, coming to the first part, which is about the education, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is a tricky one, because the truth is, if you are to put things into perspective, even studies have shown that there is a positive correlation between those people who are educated and those who are not. Now, perhaps it's a misunderstanding, and this thing of so many vijana, tapata kazi mzuri, it's really the mantra of our generation especially, and perhaps we're even passing on that to the generation that is there. But studies have shown there is that positive correlation. And you can see, even globally, not even just in Kenya, those people who are quite well educated, you'll find they are holding good jobs, they are earning decent incomes. Again, studies have shown the higher the level of education, not for everybody, of course, but even the income is higher. Those are studies and they are there, you can see. Even here in Kenya, they're there. So you'll find that those who are doing well in education, you'll find them in leadership, in the government space. You'll find them even in church leadership. You'll find them in various professions, call it law, or even environmental, or whatever it is. You'll find all of them there, and they're thriving in those places. However, that's not the only path, because education is not just about grades and marks that we are looking for, A's and B's. Education is anything that is causing you to learn and to grow in a trade or in some form of expertise, even that welding, for instance. And so I think education is not the only thing. There is also arts and talent, because God has given us different giftings. And as long as we are able to nurture those, I think you can still be successful in your own rights based on what you're able to accomplish. Yeah.
Thank you. Makofi kwa Bwana ND. That's very, very, very useful. I think Elkanah agrees with me that there is a song that used to go like this. So many vijana, mwisho wa kusoma. That's one you're talking about. Mutapata kazi nzuri sana.
The youth here perhaps didn't.
You did not get it. You did not get that.
Yes.
And by youth, you're meaning people like Lydia Serea. Okay, so Brenda, Brenda, I was listening to somebody who said he started their business of rearing chicken with a feather. I don't know if you have ever heard of that. Eh? And sometimes it's very exciting, I started with a feather. And sometimes when you talk about the reality of business, like now you've talked about ulianguka mpaka ukakuwa hosted, but then you were able to rise up again. So without like looking at a story of this chicken and feather, what is the reality of being able to fall in business and rising again? What pushes you so that unaanguka and you are hosted by somebody and you still are able to start that business and you're able to do it again and again, and that even if today you fail, you will rise up again? Tell us, and I know young people really want to know.
By the fact that from the word go, I discovered my personality, and that's a discussion for another topic, that I like being creative, and being in an organization that has structure, sometimes it can limit you in your creativity. That means it may not give you a platform to create. So first I understood it can be a little bit challenging for me to work in a 8 to 5 environment where you are supposed to follow some structures. So I became at peace with that. Secondly, because of that, then what do I do? What's my passion? What do I want to be remembered for? What the impact that I want to leave? What the legacy, And now I started from that point. This is what I've been doing even when I was not making money. Just speaking to young people, encouraging them, just helping them to realize themselves, trainings and coaching. This is it. Okay, and so now how do I now package myself so that I can get income from this? And how do I present my offers to the world so that they see the value and they're able to buy it? So there is passion. And by the fact that I can earn a living from something I am passionate about makes me wake up early morning or work very late, I'm able to structure my day the way I want in terms of even ministry in church. I always say Sunday is like a working day for me. Sunday and Saturdays are like working day, because I'm in church. And that's the life that I want, And so the life, it all began from what's the bigger picture? What the kind of life do I want? These trainings that we were being trained, wakati tulikuwa tunanunua kitabu kakasuku na project, it really helped me because I came to realize it's not a matter of just living. Ishi tu, pewa salary, go home, build a good house, the car, and then it's after that, what's the satisfaction? Are you feeling satisfied? And then as I was advancing, I realized then that thing that you're passionate about, actually you can make money from it. You can earn a living from that. What else is as beautiful as earning from what you love doing?
Fantastic. What else is as beautiful as earning from what you love doing? What a quote, isn't it? I don't know if you guys, you have Facebook. You need to write those quotes and then put a full stop and say Brenda Karimi. Pastor Patrick Mwenda, you are a founder and CEO of Beth Gada. And just a related question, using your experience, you said you started with how many? Because I know you do quite a number of things. You started with one cherahani. The cherahani is called what in English? Sewing machine. So you started with one, then you've built together. Now you are at quite a number, maybe uncountable, and you now employ around 15 people. As a young person, that journey, is there a time you have, like umeanguka, biashara imeanguka, tunaita sambaratika? Ama is it the right word? Sambaratika, then you had to start again. Is there such a time?
Yes. Actually, when I tell people I'm a tailor or I'm a designer, it's not because I did not study. My profession, I went to college, I went to JKUAT, I did BCom in accounting, I am a CPAK. I was employed in a certain company as an accountant for 4 years, but that was not my passion. Like she said, I felt I'm not the kind of person to sit. Actually, I used to finish my work after 3 hours. I enter at 8 and by 11, I'm done with the day. So all the rest of the time, I'm either wasting company time and all of that.
Which work is that?
Okay, I was in charge of payroll. Payroll, you pay people at the end of the month. So what are you doing the rest of the days? Maybe
Raphael. Okay.
Okay, I don't know. Where I was, it was a bit easier.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit harder than that. So I realized I'm an artistic guy. I'm the kind of person who went and the accounting was the kind of certificate. So mnajua yenye tunasomeanga juu ya wazazi.
Yeah.
Ndio tuwapelekee tuambie tumesoma. So acha tufuate yetu. So after 4 years, I resigned from my work. I can tell my generation until today, my mother, haelewi mimi ni fundi Nairobi. Mpaka leo. It's very hard to convince her that I'm a tailor because her mindset is the tailor in the village. Mwenye anakaa hapo nje. But what I've come to realize in my generation is that people are very artistic. Someone will come, will be a graphic designer, will be making posters and all these other things, and someone will not even understand what this person is doing. But in the real essence, they are making a lot of money. So, but for you to pursue that passion, you must understand there is a place of training your passion. One of the problems we have is that people pursue passion without training. So maybe you're a photographer, you have passion in taking pictures and creating memories, but there is a place where you can go and train that passion. You go to a photography school and they teach you something about angles, about lighting, about equipment and cameras and settings, so that you're able to accomplish your passion the best way it's supposed to be done. So I remember those days. I was very passionate about fashion. I began with selling ready-made outfits, but I realized I wanted to be hands-on, because every time I would go and buy a suit, najua generation ya director hapo inaweza kuelewa hiyo, tulikuwa tunanunua suit tunaenda tunaifinya. So it didn't make sense that I've bought a new suit and I'm in the tailor's place. He's trying to cut it again, because we wanted the fitting and all of that. So I realized this is the place I want to do. So when I began, I thought it would be easy, a walk in the park, but it wasn't. First, I realized I don't know nothing about stitching, about tailoring, and my tailors really messed me up. So najua mambo ya ma tailors Nairobi. So I had to go back to school and do a course for 6 months, that is tailoring and design. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want someone to come and lie to me on something that I'm passionate about. So the first thing that helped me when I was experiencing a lot of problems in my company, in my job, is where I didn't know anything about that job. So nili realize I had a lot of problems za kuanguka kwa biashara, and I was not able to run that because I didn't know things about the job. So I had to go back to school. Another thing I must insist is that the accounting that I learned in school has been a great help for me. Because you realize someone says hakuna dustbin education. And to me, education is an equalizer. It might not be the best thing. To someone, it will be the avenue that will give him the job and make him the money. But to all of us, education is an equalizer. You're able to sit and articulate yourself and give people ideas because you went to school and they taught you about English communication and all those other things. Someone will go and learn about accounting skills and they will go and sit in boards and they will have something to say on that matter. So I would really encourage those that say, maybe I want to be welding, but I've seen welders that are educated. I've seen camera people. I've seen people who are running great artistic and skill-based businesses, but these people are very learned. So education, hakuna kitu inapoteanga. It's just an equalizer for all of us.
Wow. Thank you. So would you advise tufinye long ya Douglas unaweza simama tuone ma? I have a feeling alikuwa anakuangalia akiongea ya kwamba hiyo long yako inahitaji kufinywa. Anyway, we will go to one set of questions and then I'm going to open it briefly. We will try our level best by 4:15 to be winding up. It's 4:03 so that we also don't keep you. So we'll go a set of questions. The last question from NYC, in NYC, National Youth Council. One of the challenges with youth is drug and substance abuse. Really big issue. And we saw when there was politics and there was this candidate who was saying he's going to do bang. How excited the country became. Unfortunately, from older people too, but of course the younger people are more excited. And it's an issue. There is a lot of maybe because of parental neglect, idleness, peer pressure. So I don't know, what are you doing as National Youth Council as part of solving that problem so that we can have a youth that is sober in this country?
Thank you so much for that question. And like I mentioned, the mandate of the National Youth Council is to ensure that no young person is left behind. So this is a very critical area, and I agree. We've had a challenge for a long time, especially on drug and substance abuse. And in fact, that's why I think it was during Kibaki's time that NACADA was formed, the National Agency on Drug and Substance Abuse. Yeah. So as the National Youth Council, I started by mentioning that we have particular programs. And there are two specific programs that deal with issues of drug and substance abuse. One of them is Faraja. Faraja is more inclined to mental health, issues of drug and substance abuse. And in Faraja, we co-create this program with partners. We have one of our partners who is Spread Truth. And Spread Truth is a partner who is inclined to the gospel. So even as we go out to meet these young people, we inculcate moral values, and more to that also, we are able to map out some of these youth populace that is dealing with these issues, and we are able to refer them to the respective agencies or to the respective groups that are able to conduct counseling as well as rehabilitation. The other program that we have that deals with some of these issues, such as harmful cultural practices. We know that some of these drug abuse issues are related to harmful cultural practices, such as FGM, such as teenage pregnancies, early marriages. So we have a program called Sawazisha Gumzo, which I talked about, and it's a dialogue kind of project. It's an intergenerational and intragenerational dialogue where we sit with these young people. We have both the set of the older generation and the young people, and we have a session whereby this older generation is able to transfer values. Yeah, and because we understand that young people are radical. Young people want to be out there. They don't like, as Brenda has mentioned, this thing of 8 to 5. Young people want to, they feel like time is not moving. They want to do something, That is young people. So we are abreast of those facts, and therefore we bring the older generation that has been through that kind of cycle and are able to transfer those kind of values and are able to mentor these young people so that, they can know that there's a life to live out there. And there's so much more that they carry than they are aware of. Yeah, and one of the things that we teach, and it's good that we have this kind of sitting, that God is above all. Yeah, God means grand overall designer. That means that He has something special for each one of us. So once this issue of identity crisis is able to be tackled among young people, then we will have very few cases of drug and substance abuse. Uh-huh. So these two programs that we have are critical in tackling this issue.
Thank you so much. Just a follow-up question. If, as Compassion, we want to partner, we want to work with you, National Youth Council, so that we can, as you say, it comes from also the Word of God. Some of these things cannot just be solved because you're talking to people, but you're also sharing the Word of God with them. So how can we partner with National Youth Council in supporting this?
Thank you. Well, there are various avenues in which we can partner.
Okay.
And one way is to jointly, carry out some of these programs. For instance, where we have programs on peace, security, patriotism, because as the National Youth Council, we aim at, inculcating the aspects of patriotism, nationalism, and volunteerism among the young people. And as we have seen from the various projects which Compassion is running, we are able to, jointly come up with unique kind of programs whereby we can reach as many young people as possible. We realize that, the National Youth Council is, for now, we do not have branch offices, yeah? We have just the National Secretariat. And there are a lot of things happening at the grassroots level. In fact, I'm very happy that we promulgated this constitution that we have, because devolution has really changed a lot of things. Yeah, we are able to reach everyone where they are, at the grassroots, at the village. And so we need many hands to come together to be able to reach every youth in the country. Because we know that there's a youth bulge, not just in Kenya, but in Africa, in the region at large. Yeah, and that's why we even have some of these things like the resolution 2050 of the UN Security Council on things to do with peace and security, because the youth bulge is really alarming. Yeah, currently even in Kenya, the population of young people is 70 and above %. Yeah, and so we have to harness this youth bulge. We have to, to be able to, to leverage on this demographic dividends. We have to come together as many partners, yeah, and to co-create programs to be able to reach every youth in their space.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's I think we'll follow up so that we can combine our efforts, and we are serving the youths of Kenya, and these are children of God. Sam, there is a question that was asked, was sent to me, and it was reading like, sometimes when a youth does a mistake, for example, this was the example given, a girl gets pregnant. They are viewed as outcasts and seen as people without a future. And in the program, I don't know if this is the truth, that they are exited. So where is the place of second chance? And as Compassion, can you give second chance to a person who has done such a mistake? That was a question that was sent, and so it is as it is.
Thank you for that question. I think by the very fact that we are human beings, we are prone to make some wrong choices, some misadventures. Yeah, and I think anyone can fall. But the Bible says that a righteous man falls 7 times but gets up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's the place for forgiveness. There's a place for applying grace. There's a place for restoration. And so it is regrettable, and we are alive to this fact, that yes, there has been exits. It is regrettable that has happened. However, as Compassion, we have really encouraged the churches not to do that, to even reinstate the girl child who has been exited for that purpose or for that reason, because we think they're still young, they can be restored, and they can continue to chase their dreams. Mm-hmm. But again, for the youth who are here, as long as you get yourself into a situation that is very tricky, like early teenage pregnancies and stuff like that, there are consequences. There are certain disruptions or interruptions in your life that are going to happen, coupled with the responsibilities that come with bringing up a child. And so those are not things that a young person is going to escape. As long as you're in school age, college age going, those are things that are quite complicated in someone's life at that particular age. But as Compassion, again, we partner with the church to bring in programs that advance things to do with chastity, sexual purity and stuff like that, so that again, our youth grow knowing some of these things and their responsibilities that they have. As long as they keep focused and they have that big picture like Brenda was sharing here about their lives and what they want to achieve, then they're in a better place to make better choices for their lives.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And let me go to Patrick first, then I'll come to Brenda. Thank you, Andy, for sharing that. So, man of God, I have researched, and I know that you work with Pastor T. Who many young people today look at him as a celebrity pastor? So as young people who are born again, including Bill is my friend, Bill and Loisa, that lady seated there. We would like to become celebrities in our ministry. So should we aspire to reach that level? People who look at him like he has made it, and what can we do to get to that level?
Well, I wish he was here to answer that question for himself. But maybe I'll answer it in a kingdom way.
Okay.
If you allow me.
Karibu.
No, because you addressed it to the man of God, not the designer. I believe there are levels of engagement that even God will use a man of influence. For example, it was Apostle Selman, is an apostle that preaches in this time. He said that God, when he needed to tell someone about Egypt and what was about to happen to Egypt, he did not go to the dreamer that was rotting in prison. He needed a man who had a place of influence to give him that dream, because he was the only person that could do something about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to believe there are places of engagement that God will entrust to men of influence. For example, if God wants to touch 1 million youth and get them out of poverty, he will not come for someone that is also in poverty. He will look for someone like compassion, with the structures, the know-how, the capacity, the ability to effect such a thing. So one of the things we must ask ourselves is, why do we need this kind of influence? Why would I want to become a celebrity? For what reason would I want to have this mantle or this place of elevation? Is it so that my people in the village can know that Patrick made it in the city? Mm-hmm. Is it because I want my fellow youth to know that mwenye mulidharau saizi anafanya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Mm-hmm. So we must understand, in as much as we are praying and asking God to get us to places of elevation, we are praying for God to use our businesses and to put these businesses up there. They must carry an agenda that is connected to Him. For example, if I became a billionaire today and God is making me to have maybe sales of $1 billion a year, what will that add to the kingdom? For what reason would God entrust me with that kind of resources? So at that particular moment, because we are kingdom men, we must carry kingdom agendas. And one of the things I would tell someone that wants to have the same influence that Apostle is working with is, number one, you must look at his life. If there is someone that has seen that is selfless, many are the times that we have had to go to different places at night, traverse counties, just for the sake of the gospel. And many are the times that we have gone and did that kind of ministration by our resources. So we have not gone there because we needed people to give us positions or to support our work or give us money. We have done it so that the name of the Lord can be glorified. And I think that is something that everybody should pursue.
Amen. Can we say amen? Amen. Brenda, you've talked about the many good things, the trainings, the, how you were mentored and how Elkanah there came through. And now, what is this boring thing? What is this thing that you kept on saying? I wish compassion can address this thing. I wish they can just stop this and just, what is this thing now? To be honest, as we come to an end, what is that? 1 or 2 things?
That will be painful to say, but I'll say anyway, because you've asked.
Yeah.
And this is an experience I had that I will never forget. It's no longer painful. It's the beatings that we used to receive.
Kichapo.
Okay. And the verbal abuse. Like, I remember this particular day. I was an obedient kid, but this particular day I came few minutes to 10 a.m. to the project, and the teacher on duty called out my name loudly because he saw me getting into the gate, and he said, tunawajua wenye mnakujanga tu kukula. Well, it's true, but did he have to say that, But the painful part of it is that I was not late because I wanted. It's because my dad had chased us at night, so we didn't sleep in the house. So me and my mom, we had to wait for him to get out so that we sneak in the house. I get prepared quickly and then I go. The other sad bit is I didn't have breakfast at home, and because of my lateness, I didn't have breakfast at the project. Actually, they were breaking for tea at 10, and I didn't have. Sometimes and that was not the only experience, but sometimes they used to be very, very, a little bit insensitive, maybe not understanding the kind of children they're dealing with. And so sometimes they would even lose some children, like mmoja unachapwa na hawezi sema nini inaendelea, mbona kuja kuandika barua, you know. But genuinely there's a reason, you know. That was a little bit off for us, and I don't think it's there anymore, because I really don't think, I've never seen it, even the time that I go for programs with FCPs, I really don't see it right now. But that time, it was there. Okay. The second thing, it's not something that was boring, but something that that maybe it's not there as much as it used to be. And I was sharing with the team that we were with that I first saw a big bed in one of the trainings that were taken by the project. A big bed to me, it's not 3x6. So anything not 3x6, it's a big bed. And it had white bed sheets. Na unalala peke yako. Na iko kwa nyumba peke yako. Na hata kuna chakula mnapewa na you are being served. And it's plenty. Sukumani. That blew my mind. That there's another life. It's not life of poverty, because when you're in the village and in slums, there is what you are used to. Yeah. So in as much as you're being told, think big, what is bigness? This is what I see. But when you're taken from that environment to another setup, your mind opens up. Yeah. You can see families, children playing, swimming, you know, and it gives you a different perspective. I ate sausage in one of the trainings when I was young, the first, and I didn't know what that thing was. So my social worker had to tell me, Brenda, kula, we kula, tunitamo, you know. She had to convince me to eat. That exposure, I'm not seeing it currently, but exposure really meant a lot to us.
Wow. Tumesikia. And I'm sure there are those on Zoom, our friends, church workers. We have heard, we have listened, and we are now better, right? So I want to invite one question from the audience. Anybody who has a bunny?
I apologize for the spanking.
Oh, does it happen? No, it doesn't happen. Does it happen today? Any youth? Does it happen? Mnachapwa? We have become better. Thank you, and again we apologize for that. Any question from the audience that is burning? I know I've asked much of the questions that you friends shared, so I'm hoping we are covered. But yes, there are two. Okay, so we'll need to give them an opportunity. It is now 22 past, so can we agree that by 30 minutes past 4 we are out of this place? We agree. Sawa sawa. Yes, you're welcome. Yes. Oh, you need a mic. Anyone who can give a mic? Ama COVID imeisha nimpe yangu. Okay. You can direct it to one of them, right? Okay.
Allow me to stand.
Please.
Good evening. My name is Emily. I now serve with Redeemed Gospel Church, K370 Waithaka. I was an alumni of Compassion, and it was amazing. I have one question for Mr. Wambugu. You have mentioned about programs after 22 years. So these programs, I have never heard of them. So where are they? Where are these? Where do we get to know about Build Her, Summer Source? You know, we're at the program level, we are not able to get them. So where are these programs? Where do we get them? Because I'm hearing them for the first time here. And after me, too bad I didn't get to hear them. So when you work on nyuma yangu, you know, this is a very good opportunity for them. So at the FCP level, Are we able to get these programs? So can the FCPs get to know about such programs so that even after 22, as we prepare for exit, because we do not do really much preparation for exit. Ukifika 21, PD anakuambia sasa kuna ile final letter, you know, tell your sponsor what you have gotten and everything. So there's really not much preparation. So anashindwa, so after 22, what happens? Okay. I'm still in campus, what happens? So these initiatives are very good if we can get them at the ground.
Very well. Thank you. Let's hear your question and then we can get panelists to answer in brief.
Oh, hi. This question go to Brenda Junior Danielewa. We as young people, we measure our happiness through materialization. How can you say about it? Materialization mostly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does having materials equate to happiness? I hope that's, if there is any one more burning question before they get to answer, because we will close. Okay, good. So those are the two questions for Sam, yes, and then Brenda. You can start. Sam.
Let me start by correcting. What we are talking about post-program success is actually more of a finishing well initiative. So what we realized is it's actually part of our youth development strategy. Some of the things that we want to expose our youth to position them for success beyond the program. So one of the things that we are doing is trying to identify organizations that we can partner with and even provide either internships or even job opportunities or training and then placement for job opportunities. That is the likes of now people like Somersource and Build Her and another one, I think KPA, right? Douglas. Yeah, such organizations. And the whole idea is to make sure that the youth have those opportunities. However, we've had some disappointments. We have organized and even gotten slots. There's a time actually we got 60 from Somersource, and we asked the youth to come. Guess how many came? Douglas, how many came? 6. Na unaitiwa job, you know? Yeah, so sometimes some of those things may happen, so, and we actually push out that information to the churches. So our hope and prayer is that you get to hear those opportunities which are there. But then again, as I said in the beginning, our work is to really prepare and equip and train the youth to engage the marketplace. And we said again, it's not about just the education, the studious one who gets A's and B's. It's really about training in skills, in your grooming, the attitudes that you need to have. Because again, you can come out with an A, but your work attitude, your values, your character will not even allow you to get a job. Your discipline, like what he's saying, the scars that you have to go through. So those are some of the initiatives that we'll put together and work in partnership with the church to explore ways that we can prepare the youth to engage in the marketplace. Yeah, let me, in the interest of time, let me just stop.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yeah, karibu Brenda.
I'll start making reference to what the National Director had mentioned about success. It all depends with how you define success. When I was in high school, I really learned a lot from my life experiences and other people's experiences. Visiting day, my mom came, gave me 200 shillings. And then another girl in the same class with, she was a Muslim. The parents came and they gave her 5,000. And so after, during when we were about to go for supper, I found her crying and I was like, what's up? And she told me, my parents don't love me. Why do they mistreat me? Why don't they care about me? They don't value me. And I was like, okay, tell me more, what's happening? And she said she had wrote a letter to them asking them if they can give her 10,000 as pocket money, but instead they have given her 5,000. And I asked her, so why do you need 10,000? And she was like, it's just good to have money. And then I thought, I have my 200 and I'm so happy. At least my mom came. She was able to afford fare to come and give to me 200 shillings. So I'm like, why are you crying? You know, you have 5,000. I have 200. I'm happy. You are not happy. So what does that mean? It depends with the paradigm. Where are you looking life? Through which lenses? If you're looking at life from the lenses of poverty, you will try to accumulate material stuff, have much money, have many clothes, have a good phone, but it's not going to give you the happiness. But get that money and give it out. It gives you satisfaction. It gives you comfort, and you feel you're serving. Now, for the young people who are sponsored by Compassion, there is something, and it took a lot of time for me to understand that I had poverty mentality, even in my business, you know, where you're receiving money and you don't want to release. If you have to release, you have to release it on yourself, buying things to yourself. And when you're offering a solution, it is money that is coming, you know, in your mind first. We have been brought up in an environment of struggling, you know, and being helped and being supported. So even when we come out, we still want support and people to give to us as opposed to us giving out. That mindset can only be taken away by reading books and having mentors and exposing yourself to people who have walked ahead of you. It is not something you can wake up today and say, from today, I'll start seeing life in a different way. It is a journey. So the moment you realize you are getting scared because you don't have money in your pocket, that's a poverty mentality. Why do you want to have money in your pocket, whereas you have food, you have clothes, your school fees is paid, like you have everything that you need, but you still feel unstable that you don't have money in your pocket? And this is a mindset that is with many young people, you know, and so we are pursuing material things. We're still pursuing. We are pursuing numbers even on social media. We don't want to make an impact. We want people to come, then we start figuring out what do we do with them. As he was talking about social media and following, why do you want people to follow you? What do you have so that they can follow you? What are you giving the world so that they come to you? Because you'll have to give for them to come. You have to give what you have in your pocket for it to come back. So if you look at your life as you can only be given, then that's a poverty mentality. Because you can go to your project and talk to that little child and tell them pole or serve them food. You are giving. You can go to a church and minister and serve in whatever capacity. After I cleared Form 4, besides serving in the project, I was washing toilet in my church, you know, faithfully every Saturday. I think for 6 months before I went to college to do CPA. I was giving. I really didn't understand that I was giving. Sini kuosha choo tu, kwani kuna nini sini choo. I mean, kuna maji, kuna ufagio, I can just do that. But right now I look at it as something I was just giving out. Because much has been given to me. I don't have money to give, but I have my hands, the energy, as Newton was saying, we have the time. We can give it out wherever we are.
Wow. Hey, I think we should have added some hours, isn't it? Just to listen to this conversation, isn't it? It's so deep, yeah? And so, I see some gifts, and I also take note that they are, you know Gregory Papoy?
Absolutely.
He was your mentor?
Yes.
He's online and he says hi. Let's clap for Gregory for being a mentor to he has seen you and he says, say hi to, Victor Malombe. I mentored him. So that I'm reading. So I don't know what he wants us to do now that he mentored him, but maybe just to say. Yeah. Anyway, we cannot finish this. We need to have more of this, because this is what we need to have. Because we also encouraged as workers to see such, stories.